Was it luck or something? Her first live show in over a decade, best night of my life. Holiday Party is that girl. These are storytelling songs. She put crack in this one. Hey Team Duff, it's Whitt. Thanks so much for listening to Duff Enough, the ultimate Hilary Duff fan podcast. This show is a celebration of the life and career of actress, singer, mother, and all-around icon, Hilary Duff. Well, hello. Bet you thought you'd heard the last of me, but here I am, back with a new episode of Duff Enough, almost 4 years after ending the podcast. Yeah, it's been a minute, and at the end of the last episode, I said I might come back if anything developed with the Lizzie reboot or with new music, and here we are in the year 2026 with a new Hilary Duff album. So I had to come back and talk about it. I'm recording this a few weeks after the album release. I wanted some time to sit with it, to digest the music, take in the press tour. Yes, we got an actual press tour. So this is a very special singular episode with just me and my review of Luck or Something. I will also be talking about my experience attending the Small Rooms Big Nerves tour in LA. Can't believe I got to do that. Can't wait to talk about it. Welcome back to anyone who previously listened to Duff Enough. Welcome to any first-time listeners. You know, this podcast was really a passion project of mine. I started working on it right after the Lizzie reboot was announced in 2019. Launched it in early 2020 and just recapped and discussed Hilary's movies and albums and TV shows and all her other projects in between. I had some really fun conversations with a lot of my real life friends and then also with Hilary fans who I met on the internet and have since become friends with. So it was a lot of fun. I don't go back often or ever to listen to the episodes, but I'm really proud of it. I got to interview the directors of the Lizzie McGuire movie and A Cinderella Story / The Perfect Man. Those were big highlights. I know some of the episodes are better than others. Some are a little outdated now. But overall, I enjoyed doing a lot of research and just fangirling over Hilary. And wow, so much has happened since the podcast. I feel like the podcast landscape has completely changed. Now everyone has a podcast and everyone has video with their podcast. No video for this episode. I'm staying consistent and recording this in my closet with my 15-year-old laptop. Like, poor thing, I hope it makes it through this. I feel like a lot has changed with my Duff Enough platform, too, though, that I want to mention. This was originally a podcast, and after the podcast ended, I continued using the Instagram account that I had made for Duff Enough. And it became more of a fan page where I would post about Hilary and post nostalgic content and even do some fun Hilary cosplays. I really got into that for a bit. But I would also do like milestone anniversary celebrations for her movies and music. So maybe like a month of posting content to celebrate the 20th anniversary of A Cinderella Story or the 20th anniversary of Metamorphosis. And things took off a bit as I was doing that. So I feel like there are Duff Enough followers who don't really know that there was ever a podcast associated with it. And that's okay. I did change the name of the Instagram to Duff Enough Project because I felt like project encompassed more than just the podcast. I also changed my personal TikTok to be Duff Enough Project too. So now I feel like I'm this niche Hilary Duff fan content creator. Very much on the side. I do have a full-time job and I joke that I'm a retired podcaster. But here I am coming out of retirement because again, our girl has released a new album. So there's a lot to talk about. The way I used to start the episodes with a new guest was to ask them 3 questions about their Hilary fandom. I answered these questions in the first episode of the podcast, but Just as a little reintroduction, I will answer them again. First question, what is my favorite Hilary Duff movie? I always feel like this is an odd choice or maybe a hot take, but my favorite Hilary Duff movie is Cheaper by the Dozen. I know it's a very ensemble film and not one where Hilary is the lead, but I love that movie so much. The cast is perfect, and Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt are just brilliant. A Cinderella Story is a very close second, though, so if we were only talking about ones where she is the lead, it would be A Cinderella Story. Next question, what is my favorite Hilary Duff song? That would be Shine from her self-titled album. Love that song. It makes me think of my best friend. I want to get a Shine tattoo. I think I might have mentioned that at some point on the show. Hasn't happened, but I did get a little red heart tattoo like Hilary has on her wrist. You can go on social media and see it. Shine tattoo one day, though. And final question, what is my favorite episode of Lizzie McGuire? My favorite episode of Lizzie McGuire is Misadventures in Babysitting, where Lizzie babysits Matt and Sam, their dad, comes home to check on them, and they think he's a burglar. And it turns into this whole Home Alone situation. We just celebrated the 25th anniversary of Lizzie, which is crazy. I can't believe it's been 25 years. I feel like that show changed my life and set me on this course of being a longtime Hilary fan. And while that's a very exciting thing to celebrate, there's some sad news too in the Lizzie family. Robert Carradine, who played Lizzie's dad, Sam McGuire, sadly passed away February 23rd of 2026 at the age of 71. That news was devastating, especially to read that he had been struggling with bipolar disorder and mental health issues, and very sadly took his own life. Hilary posted some photos with him on Instagram and said in the caption, quote, "This one hurts. It's really hard to face this reality about an old friend. There was so much warmth in the McGuire family, and I always felt so cared for by my on-screen parents. I'll forever be grateful for that. I'm deeply sad to learn Bobby was suffering. My heart aches for him, his family, and everyone who loved him." Some of the other cast members posted about the loss as well, and a lot of people in Hollywood posted their tributes. The Carradines were a well-known family, but you know, after the news came out, I went back and watched the episode Lizzie Strikes Out, which is the one where Lizzie double books her weekend plans to go bowling with her friends and Ethan, along with going out to dinner with her dad. And Sam McGuire in the episode is missing father-daughter time with Lizzie. So he's really excited when she agrees to go out to dinner with him. Then Lizzie feels very torn about having to ask him to postpone so she can bowl with her friends. And in the end, she invites her dad to go bowling with them. And it's just a really sweet episode where Sam McGuire is a big focus. And what a great actor we had for Lizzie's dad, for our TV dad. And I know that watching the show now will not quite be the same because we know he's gone. But what a legacy to leave behind and to have impacted our generation the way that he did. Rest in peace, Robert Carradine. He will always be our TV dad. Okay, so I got through the 3 introductory Hilary fan questions that I ask at the start of the show. There's another question that I'll come back to at the end. As of right this second, I don't have an answer for it, but maybe I will by then. What is my favorite Hilary Duff album? Will it be Luck or Something? Let's find out.
Sparks are about to fly. It's time for Duff Discography.
How did we get here? Was it luck or something? Those are new Hilary Duff lyrics, but I want to go back and actually address how we got here, how we got to Luck or Something. Before my review of the concert and the album, I'm going to talk about the relaunch of Hilary's music career and the rollout of this era. Now, the finale episode of this podcast was about season 1 of How I Met Your Father in 2022. And so what happened in the Hilary timeline after that? Well, How I Met Your Father came back for season 2 in 2023 with 20 episodes. So they split that season up with half the episodes airing at the start of the year and half the episodes airing in the summer. I tried to be as positive as I could about How I Met Your Father. I did really like the cast of the show, but the writing was never up to par for me, and I didn't love Hilary doing a multicam sitcom. It felt very outdated. So even though I wanted a season 3 so they could wrap up the story and reveal who the father was, I was not that sad about How I Met Your Father getting canceled after season 2. As far as we know, the show was doing well with viewership, but I wouldn't say it was ever a runaway hit for Hulu. In the summer of 2023, when the show would have gone back into production, there was a writer's strike happening, then an actor's strike. So I think that played a big part in How I Met Your Father not coming back. Then we were in the longest drought of Hilary's career. That fall of 2023, she did release her second children's book. It was a sequel to her New York Times bestseller, My Little Brave Girl, called My Little Sweet Boy. We, the fans, clocked that Hilary was pregnant while promoting that book. She announced the pregnancy shortly after with her annual family holiday card. Her 4th child, her 3rd with husband Matthew Coma. Towns Meadow Bear was born on May 3rd. So cute. Love the name Towns. In case you missed it, Matthew did get a vasectomy. But apparently that whole time, he and Hilary were busy making another baby, and that would be this album. In his album release day post, Matthew wrote that in June of 2023, Hilary rolled over one morning and said, "My turn, I want to make an album." That's a bit earlier than I thought the process may have started, but they've said it was 2 years in the making, which times out right to being mid-2023 to mid-2025. Now, the first time I remember documenting that Hilary was in the studio was August of 2024. And she started posting photos randomly and periodically of a mic or showing she was in the studio. I was thinking, oh, she's doing a voiceover for something, a voiceover for a brand deal, maybe for her new candle company, Below 60. Shout out to Below 60. This is nothing for music, because our girl, for the longest time, showed no interest in coming back to music. After Breathe In, Breathe Out, she did a few one-off music things, including the Third Eye Blind cover of Never Let You Go with Matthew in 2020. But she would dodge the questions in interviews or say she was too busy as a mom. It really did not seem like it was going to happen. So it was totally fair for us not to get excited about pictures of Hilary in the recording studio. Then Matthew posted a photo dump tribute to Hilary on Mother's Day last year with a photo of Hilary in the studio, and the end of the caption said, "Now please go save millennial pop music. It needs you now more than ever." That's when the headlines got started about Hilary recording new music. I think we started getting a little excited at that point, and in the months following, we got news that Hilary signed with new music artist management, Watchdog Management, and a new talent agency. May 13th, 2025, it's announced that she has signed with CAA, Creative Artists Agency, which also reps big names like Zendaya, Jennifer Aniston, Meryl Streep, and on the music side, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande. Because when CAA posted about this on Instagram, it was a collab post with CAA Music. So that really confirmed that new music from Hilary Duff was coming. On Father's Day, Hilary shared photos with Matthew, including a very professional-looking one in the studio. Then, for the 10th anniversary of Breathe In, Breathe Out in June, Hilary, yes, Hilary Duff herself, posted a tribute to the 10th anniversary of Bebo, which is unheard of for Hilary to acknowledge her past work. Go read it if you have not. It's a beautiful tribute. But she addressed, the lack of success the album had and mentioned how fans say it flopped with a warning. Here's what she wrote. While Breathe In, Breathe Out didn't have major success, there was still some work on the record that felt authentic. I see you blaming yourselves on TikTok. Not actually your fault, but really it was. Just kidding. But don't let it happen again next time, okay? Oh, that was a tease, officially. Next, in August of last year, she posted about the 22nd anniversary of Metamorphosis, once again teasing in the caption, to be continued. We are losing our minds now. What is going on? Then, just as we think we're going to learn about new music, on August 28th, news breaks that Hilary is going to star in a new drama series being developed for Hulu called Pretty Ugly. She'll also executive produce. She'll play the lead role of a former pageant queen, Miranda Miller, who's determined to make her 10-year-old daughter a pageant star. And it will explore the dark side of child beauty pageants. So it's based on a novel of the same name. It's a totally different role and project for Hilary. This news was so exciting. It sounds like the perfect show for Hilary, and hopefully it'll be something that takes her acting career to the next level. We haven't heard much of anything about Pretty Ugly since it was announced, so I hope it still happens with Hilary. With all of the music things going on in the next year, it's probably going to be a while, but I hope they wait. This sounds like the perfect acting job for her as she enters her 40s. So that was really exciting. Hilary liked my post about it. No big deal. Fast forwarding to September 9th, 2025. That's when we saw Hilary's Spotify page update with new photos. We then saw Hilary post studio photos with the launch of Hilary HQ on Instagram. The caption said, new music, ... or something, disco ball emoji, stars emoji, and cherries emoji. The news breaks that Hilary has signed with Atlantic Records, new music, and a docuseries about her return to music from director Sam Wrench, who did Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concert movie. What is happening? The excitement explodes on the internet. Millennials are so excited for Hilary's return to music. This already felt different from her last comeback attempt in 2014. I think nostalgia obviously played a bigger role, but the hype was real. And I remember waking up in the days after and remembering, like, oh yeah, we're getting new music from Hilary, and just being so happy and excited. So really from the start, it felt like a dream. And that feeling has pretty much continued for me through the rest of the rollout. All right, now hitting on some of the eventful moments leading up to the first single. Hilary goes to Milan Fashion Week, stuns at Milan Fashion Week, gets asked about new music in an interview, says that it's going to be pop and that we'll hear something soon. When? Soon. The girl needed to see and be seen, and that's what she was doing. She got a lot of love on her 38th birthday on September 28th. Atlantic Records gave her a heart-shaped cake that said, "You're so mature." The fans, we were trying to figure out what that meant. I remember feeling like it was just a message for her birthday, being like, "You're so mature." I was wrong. We'll come back to that in a minute. The first week of October, I needed Hilary to lay low because Taylor Swift's new album was coming out, and we didn't need Hilary to try and make her big comeback that week. However, on October 3rd, literally the day Taylor's album came out, Hilary appeared at the music festival Austin City Limits in Texas as Role Model's Sally. Some context. The musician Role Model has a song called Sally When the Wine Runs Out. And he has this tradition of bringing out a celebrity guest during the bridge of that song to be Sally and dance around on stage. Olivia Rodrigo had done it, Natalie Portman, Kate Hudson, and then here comes Hilary. She came out on stage, and the confidence that she showed was unlike anything we'd seen from her in a long time. It was taking me back to like the Metamorphosis days of her performing, specifically the American Music Awards when she did Girl Can Rock and So Yesterday, and had the most incredible amount of comfortability and confidence. This was not Hilary from the Breathe In, Breathe Out 2014 folky pop era. This was pop star Hilary Duff, and the response was incredible. People were excited at the concert and online, and our humble queen, Matthew, posted about her texting him, being worried that no one would recognize her. Adorable. It was a moment, and it really signaled that this music comeback was happening in a big way. Very exciting. Hilary steps up her social media game as well during this time. October 7th, she posted a carousel of photos and a video in a rehearsal room showing her with a mic stand. In the video, we heard a new version of What Dreams Are Made Of playing. Like a lot of people, my mind went to the Jonas Brothers, who had been bringing out a lot of Y2K stars at their concerts, including JoJo, Jesse McCartney, Ashley Simpson, Demi Lovato. That seemed like a possibility to me. A small possibility, but still a possibility. I did post a TikTok with that theory, and it got a lot more attention than I was expecting. I was wrong. I was clowning, but it was kind of fun to clown and speculate, you know? I thought Hilary might show up at the Houston Jonas Brothers show because their tour was the Greetings from Your Hometown tour, and some of the surprise guest artists were showing up in their hometowns. Again, I was wrong. Okay, the hype keeps building for Hilary's new music online, but we still don't hear anything about a single release date. October 18th, she attends the Academy Museum Gala in the most beautiful purplish gown. Y'all know what she was serving. We love it. Same thing on October 27th at the Vogue World Hollywood event. That's where she told reporters that new music was coming in the blink of an eye and that her new music was all for the gays. Thank you, Hilary. We saw some great Hilary Halloween costumes on social media. I did a whole week of Halloween outfits. Go check it out. Finally, November 2nd, we get a countdown on her website for an announcement coming in 24 hours. That felt like Christmas Eve. November 3rd was Coronation Day. Now, among the fans, we had theories about what song titles were going to be on the new album, what the first single might be called. Obviously, we had the You're So Mature Cake. We had the song Holiday Party that had been registered as a new Hilary song. That made us question whether or not she was launching the era with a new Christmas song or holiday song. We also had a photo shared by a photographer and then deleted of Hilary looking at the track list, but the titles were pretty blurred out. However, we could see that Mature was on the list. So November 3rd, we got the announcement the lead single was going to be Mature. It was beyond exciting. I would like to share some audio from the video of me reacting to this news.
Mature, November 6th. Mature, mature, mature. It's mature. It's mature, y'all. It's mature. There it is. There it is. Look at it. There it is. November 6th. 5 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern. Yes, yes. Look at this. Look at that. Yes, yes. Oh, yes. And it's coming out Thursday. Yes.
Yeah, I was excited. But yes, coming out on Thursday night that week at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Hilary, for dropping the new music at an appropriate time for your fans. We are grown and have jobs. Single artwork, stunning. Hilary's face 3 times, kind of this cool, reflective look. And then the text mature in pink. Not long after that, we find out Hilary is going to be on Jake Shane's Therapist podcast, dropping the night before Mature. Was that not the best week? So good. Internet explodes with Hilary content, and fans are expressing their excitement. And as hard as that drought was for us as the hardcore fans from 2023 to 2025, it was necessary for people to miss Hilary, not just as a singer, but in general. It helps to have people miss you. She was away from the spotlight, off people's radars, and they were ready to welcome her back. So Therapist podcast drops, and this is the first time we've seen Hilary in a while do a sit-down interview like this. But we got a lot out of this interview. I felt like Jake did his homework. Hilary hinted a lot at a tour. She talked about how she was doing this for her fans and wanted to connect with us again through music. She described Mature as being a song where she's talking to her younger self about an experience and reflecting on it, meeting herself where she landed. Also, one of the more ridiculous moments from the podcast, our forgetful queen said Wake Up was not a single. Girl. Anyway, right before the song dropped, I posted about how this was her moment. This was our moment and how we really needed to soak this in. Here's a little bit of what I wrote on an Instagram post. We get to connect with our favorite artist all over again. The artist we met as kids, tweens, teens, the artist we've grown up with, the artist who's now an adult alongside of us. We get to experience this new era with her and with each other. Okay. So Hilary did comment twice on that post. She said, my heart, you angels. And the comments from the fans on that post too were really the sweetest. Song drops, music video drops. Pop star Hilary was officially back. I'll go ahead and share a few thoughts on Mature right now. This song made a statement. And so I do think it was the right choice for a lead single, for her to be coming back to music as very much a grown woman, even more so than when she did in her 20s. The song title of Mature said a lot. The song itself, really good. I did not have to pretend to like this song or pretend like it was a good song. We all remember the trauma of Chasing the Sun. This was a solid first single, and the reaction online, for the most part, was very positive from both fans and critics. And I think what really made a lot of noise and got positive feedback was the subject matter. This song is about Hilary's experience from when she was younger and dating a much older man. That led to a lot of speculation on the internet about who the song could be about. Lyrically, it doesn't make sense for it to be about Joel Madden. But of course, by including a reference to Leonardo DiCaprio, very Leo of you with your Scorpio touch, and his reputation for dating younger women, a lot of people thought maybe it was about him. We still don't know who it's about. It got people talking about the song, though, which means it was a smart choice for the first single. Do I think there are other songs on the album that strike as more of a commercial pop single? Sure, I do. Mature was more of an indie pop sound compared to what we were used to from Hilary, but I don't think we're going to ever look back and feel strongly that Mature wasn't the right choice to launch this era. I think it was a very strong choice. And I love the music video and the nod to Metamorphosis at the end. More on that later. Overall, a very positive reaction for Mature. The song did not land or debut on the Billboard Hot 100. It was bubbling just under, I think 1 week earlier, it might have gotten on there, but the first week of November, holiday songs re-enter the chart, and that blocked Mature, unfortunately. But wait, there's more. Following Mature, Hilary announced that 4 shows would be happening in early 2026. The Small Rooms Big Nerves Tour, London, Toronto, New York, LA. Tiny venues, like 2,000 people capacity or less. Oh my goodness. I didn't know how that was going to happen for me in the moment of the announcement. I just thought, how am I going to get tickets? The travel, I live in Central Florida. None of those cities are convenient, but I'll travel. And the main thing I was thinking was, I have to go because if this is my only opportunity, I can't miss it. I was not at the one radio show she did during Breathe In, Breathe Out era. I never saw a Hilary Duff concert as a kid. Tragic, I know. How do I get to one of those shows? So I made a pact with my friend Allison, who you may know from her platform Past Foot Forward. We've done several Instagram lives over the years together. We were going to try for the tickets and then figure everything else out after that. Try being the operative word because the Ticketmaster war on November 14th, didn't get New York pre-sale, didn't get LA pre-sale, didn't get New York general sale, didn't get LA general sale, and we were not alone. Collectively, for the Hilary Duff fans of the world, that was an interesting day. Now, granted, there were a few thousand fans who did get tickets, and our savior, Nico, shout out to Nico, got tickets for both New York and LA. Lucky duck. It was so kind of him to sell me and Allison his LA tickets. And listen, it was nerve-wracking because the way they did this, the way they did these tickets for most of the shows, you couldn't transfer them or sell them directly to someone. So we had to trick the system a little bit and use Nico's Ticketmaster. It was the whole thing. It did work, thank goodness, and I'll get to the show. But there were so many fans upset about not being able to get tickets to the Small Rooms Big Nerves tour. The demand was insane, like 140,000 people in one of the queues for a 2,000 person venue. Hilary did assure fans in a video that night that more live opportunities were coming. But that was a lot. I do not enjoy being in a Ticketmaster war at all. Moving on to later in November, Hilary teases the album in cities around the globe with posters in London, Paris, Tokyo, you know. Another countdown to November 21st. This time she announces the album is titled Luck ... or something and reveals the cover. A full body photo. We've never gotten a full body shot on one of Hilary's album covers. She looked amazing. How would I describe the aesthetic? I'd say cozy, a little sultry, winter tones. On the cover, she's wearing a brownish, maybe purplish sweater with black underwear and tights. The set for the album photos feels very 70s to me. It reminds me of Taylor Swift's Midnight's album photo shoot and also Adele's 30 album photo shoot. Hilary announced in the caption of her post that the release date for Luck or Something would be February 20th. So the countdown was on. Over the holidays, we got a lot of merch and vinyls put on sale. We got a lot of Vegas shows announced for February and May. We also got a few promo press moments with Hilary, including the Apple Music holiday radio takeover with her and Matthew. New Year comes around, and personally, I was getting a little impatient by now. I was like, we have an album coming out next month, shows in a few weeks. Are we getting a new single or what? And I'm not going to get into the mom group drama, but that happened. Thankfully, Hilary was on to more important things and started teasing her new single, Roommates, which was announced to come out on January 15th. The internet definitely had opinions on the spicy lyrics we were getting with this song. I remember thinking, this is the song we were waiting for. Loved mature, but this sounded like what I was expecting new Hilary music to sound like, I guess. Then when we heard the full song and saw the full music video, I was shook. I was like, Hilary is not holding back. She is saying what she wants to say. I joked on a TikTok that in 2020, Disney Plus said Lizzie McGuire can't have sex. And then in 2026, Hilary sang Back of the Dive Bar, Giving You Head. Pretty good reaction online about Roommates, and it got a lot of people talking. Let's move on to the Small Rooms Big Nerves tour and my review of the LA show. So, the first date of this tour was January 19th in London. Now, here in the US, that was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and a lot of us were off work and able to watch on TikTok. It happened at 2 p.m. my time, but seeing all the fans lining up and dressing up ahead of the show was everything. It made me so happy to see fans getting to have this moment together. And knowing I was going to have this moment too was pretty cool. London, though, you guys were first. That stage with pink carpet and the disco ball, the band looking all cute in their little 70s inspired looks, and then Hilary kicking things off with Wake Up, her first live show in over a decade, her first headlining concert in like 18 years since the Dignity Tour. And literally for me, even watching this on my phone, it didn't seem real. She was so confident and having such a great time and looking incredible. But I'm just sitting there and I'm like, no way this is real. No way is Hilary performing this song in 2026 at a concert. Metamorphosis? No way is she doing that song. Someone's Watching Over Me? I'm crying. And I knew that there would be opportunities for viral moments. Of course, they did bring people on stage to do the With Love dance. What Dreams Are Made Of is what I really expected to pop off on social media. And it did. It definitely did. Her first time performing that song live ever. I will say, I don't have a ton of fashion expert thoughts on the outfits for the shows, but that London show encore look, no ma'am, burn it. It was like a nude colored bodysuit with a big flower and a cape. Hilary was visibly uncomfortable. My least favorite look of the tour. That was not what we needed for performing What Dreams Are Made Of for the first time ever. Thankfully, it did not appear again. The rest of the outfits we've seen for this era have been a sleigh, for me at least. Toronto was next, January 24th. Hilary's daughters were there, and the video of Banks and May in the crowd reacting to the confetti moment in What Dreams Are Made Of. Oh, my heart, my heart. So sweet. And listen, we've got to give Banks her credit, okay? We know she was bumping the old school Hilary music and getting her mom back into pop star mode. New York, January 27th. I was getting nervous for both Toronto and New York, actually, because of the snowstorms that were happening. Turns out Hilary and her band and team had to drive from Toronto to New York. Couldn't get a flight. The Brooklyn show happened, though, and major props to the fans who waited out in the cold for that show. Listen, when those shows were announced, I was like, why is Hilary touring when there's always such cold weather and blizzards that time of year? I knew the album was coming out in February, but it's not the best time. I thought it's not the best time to be touring in cities where there's crazy winter weather. I understand it was worth it, though, for the people who waited in the cold. For LA, sorry, but we didn't have to wait in the cold. It was very nice out, January 29th. This was the best night of my life. I mean that truly. let me talk about the experience. We got there around 2, which was 5 hours before the doors were going to open at 7. And honestly, the line was not that bad. Maybe 30, 40 people were in front of us. But those 5 hours in line were actually very special. I got to meet so many Hilary fans who I've been connected with, many for years on the internet, so that was so cool. Meeting my friend Jessica, who was the first person in line. She'd been there since 3 a.m. She was dedicated. Adal and Logan and Neems, the movie poster guy. Also Jay and Laura and, oh my gosh, later David from Back to the Best podcast. Grace, we missed you if you're listening. I also just met people who I didn't know were going to be there, but I recognized from social media, and people who recognized me and said something. So that was awesome. And meeting new Hilary fans and being among Hilary fans in line. Allison and I met Cynthia. She was really sweet. And this was all before the concert. Loved everybody's outfits. Saw lots of Hilary, vintage Hilary t-shirts. Lots of Lizzie Y2K inspired looks. Some Lizzie Isabella duos. For my fit, I found a pink tie-dye shirt that looked very pink cloudy, like the aesthetic on Hilary's website and socials for this era. And I matched that with a black button-down that had pink butterfly prints on it. So it felt very much like a nod to the past and a nod to her current era. Okay, showtime. Well, almost, because remember we were using Nico's Ticketmaster, and when we got in the venue at the Wiltern, Allison and I had to hug each other. We were so happy. Then we got into the theater space, and we were second row, main level general admission. Felt pretty good about our spots. We were very close. Bless Allison for going to get merch. I would have been an anxious wreck, which brings me to the question. How was I feeling as this concert became a reality for me? Because this was a big moment, and I was aware. I knew it. I knew I needed to be present for this moment. I was not going to take a ton of photos or videos. I just wanted to be there and enjoy it. So happy to be in that space, and it did feel like a safe space with the girls and the gays. I felt lucky to be there. I knew that there were so many fans who weren't able to go to these shows, and I wanted to be there to represent them the best I could. Beyond the concert, I will never forget being in that room and how that felt. The concert started at 8:30, and the song that played before Hilary came out was Sally, When the Wine Runs Out, which felt appropriate after, Hilary's moment as Sally. Then the band appeared. They started playing Wake Up. The lighting on the stage is dark, but we see Hilary walking out. She starts singing the song. There's still no spotlight on her for the first few lines. Then a light comes up on Hilary when she gets to the lyrics, I put my makeup on a Saturday night. I try to make it happen, try to make it all right. And I have to pause there and talk about the significance of those lyrics and that moment for me. One thing I felt during this show was free. I felt so free to just be myself and be my fangirl self. But also, at some point during the concert, I started to feel really empowered to acknowledge and speak about Hilary's impact on my life in a deeper way. And that's just generally speaking, not specifically on a podcast. When I started the podcast 6 years ago, I was 25 and I was not in a place where I was going to say much about my sexuality or the impact Hilary had on me as a gay kid whose upbringing was in a small, conservative, deeply southern part of Tennessee. I do remember saying some things that I edited out because I wasn't ready for people to hear me say those things. And in other cases, I might have left some things in, but I was joking about it. And I can totally joke and laugh about things from my childhood that were traumatic, but I can also recognize that they were traumatic. I was definitely made fun of in school for being a boy who liked Hilary Duff. There were adults in my life who at times made me feel like it wasn't okay for me to like Hilary the way that I did, because, boys shouldn't like girly things. So that was really complicated to navigate. And the reason I bring that up now is because when I was a kid, I was singing Wake Up. And one time I was told that I needed to sing different lyrics for that part that said, I put my makeup on a Saturday night. And instead, maybe I could sing, I'm watching TV on a Saturday night, because boys wouldn't sing about putting on makeup. And so getting to scream those lyrics in that room with the Hilary Duff and some of her biggest fans was freeing, liberating. And I know there are so many other gay male Hilary fans who have similar stories and feel the same way. Yeah, I got super deep there. But, when I think about how I did cope with a lot of things in my childhood, I know a lot of it was my resiliency, but a lot of it was Hilary. She was my escape. Her movies, her music, TV show. It all brought me so much joy and comfort. And I love that I never felt really embarrassed or shied away from being a fan of hers just because of what someone else said. And to all those people who made me feel less than for liking Hilary, look at me now at her comeback concert. Thank you very much. Now that I've said all that, I have to talk about what it's like seeing Hilary in person. She has such a glow about her. There is a star power that is undeniable. As we know, she has this go girl, give us nothing reputation with her dancing. She wasn't doing much dancing on this tour, but she is absolutely mesmerizing when she walks across the stage, struts across the stage, or just twirls around. The hand choreography is everything. I can't believe I used to imitate all of Hilary's movement on stage when I was a kid in my bedroom. And now I'm doing this new hand choreo every time I listen to some of these songs as an adult. She was having so much fun and projecting so much good energy. And it was interesting to see her performing these songs from her past that she really hasn't taken ownership over in a long time. She's talked about that in some of her interviews and how she had to reclaim them and figure out her relationship with the old music. But it felt so natural, and like Hilary was finally embracing those songs and realizing what they mean to people. I want to read the set list here and just marvel over it. Wake Up, So Yesterday, Roommates, Weather for Tennis, Metamorphosis, Fly, My Kind, Sparks, Future Trippin', With Love, Beat of My Heart, Someone's Watching Over Me, We Don't Talk, Why Not, Come Clean, Mature, and What Dreams Are Made Of. I mean, what a set list. The show was about an hour and 15 minutes, one full costume change before the last two songs. She gave the fans what we wanted. She did all the hits, pretty much. I will say, I was surprised that Metamorphosis was included, but she's really been leaning into the nostalgia for that album. Did we need the cue cards with the lyrics for the Metamorphosis bridge? No, we did not, but commit to the bit. I've heard some people say they would have switched Metamorphosis with Anywhere But Here. I like that. I think that song has gotten a lot more love with nostalgia for A Cinderella Story. Only one song from Dignity, With Love. That's probably the only song I would have expected for this tour. Lucky Me tour, though. Stranger, Play With Fire, Dignity, yes, please. I was a little surprised we didn't get All About You. The two songs from Breathe In, Breathe Out, My Kind, and Sparks. That was one of my favorite moments in the show, especially My Kind. We were just dancing and letting loose and having a good time. It also felt like we were celebrating that era that, never got the love it deserved, but yet it meant so much to those of us in the audience. Some other highlights for me, Why Not was my favorite song. Hilary gave a little speech before Why Not and talked about how the world feels so bleak and how special it was to be able to take a moment to come together and find some joy. And I remember feeling that way before going to the LA concert, just that it felt silly to be traveling out to this concert when so many serious, horrible things were happening. And it was a good reminder to find some joy, and I'll share some audio from that moment.
The world is super hard to process right now and so bleak. I want you all to know that each and every one of you here, I love you. You're all welcome. I love celebrating with you. I love that we can take a pause and smile and feel light. It's really meaning so much to all of us here and me and my heart especially.
Yeah, I love when she said, I love you, you're all welcome here. It was almost like Hilary gave us permission by saying all that to really let go and have a good time with Why Not. The crowd went wild for that song. Someone's Watching Over Me was another highlight. I love that Rita Wilson, who played Hilary's mom in Raise Your Voice, went to one of the Vegas shows and, got to hear that song from that movie. Beat of My Heart, here's what happened during Beat of My Heart, okay? So first, With Love was before Beat of My Heart, and the LA show is where Hilary teased the world tour. By, she had the fan dancers put on the t-shirts that said World Tour Loading. That was an incredibly exciting moment, and I tried to post about it right away. That was the only time I got distracted during the show. But when I was done and back in the moment, Hilary was looking out in our direction and on our side of the stage, and I put up a heart with my hands and started fist pumping, but with my heart hands. Then Hilary did the same thing. Now, I didn't see anybody in front of me doing that at that moment. Everybody behind me could have been doing that already. I don't know. But in my mind, she saw me doing it, and I'll just live in that state of delusion. Thank you. All right. And then the new songs were fun to hear as well. I had been watching videos of the other shows, and so I knew them a little bit before ours. Of course, the grand finale was What Dreams Are Made Of with the butterfly confetti. That was a magical moment. I've never seen so much confetti in my life. I think our show had my favorite encore outfit of the tour, which was the pink, fluffy, feathered dress. The perfect way to end it. And then to see Hilary take it all in, she took a moment before walking off stage and just soaked up all the love. And it was beautiful. It really was beautiful. Overall, for me, every song in the show transported me back to whenever that song was first in my life or when that song meant the most in my life. And as much as this new era has felt like a dream, the concert in particular felt dreamlike. It's been almost 2 months now, and I still have moments where I'm like, did that happen? Was I there? That was too good to be true. And I saw someone talk about concert amnesia, which I may have suffered from a little bit. I remember it. I remember the feelings. It's hard to visualize all of it, but it's dreamlike. And maybe someday I will wake up from the dream and remember it as reality. I'm also okay with it feeling that way, though, with it feeling like a dream. It's what dreams are made of, right? After the show, we met Susan Duff, who was in the audio booth. Mama Suze, she is exactly the badass boss bitch you think she is. That woman was talking away and telling us everything, including that Hilary was born 7 weeks early. She also said something about how she was the one managing Hilary's tours back in the day. And who do you think signed those paychecks? She referred to the upcoming tour as the summer tour. So that let us know what to expect there. But she was so cool and so fun to talk to. And then we were on our way. I left in my new Hilary Duff hoodie. The next day, I flew home in one of my new Hilary Duff t-shirts. I came home with a terrible cold. I don't know who gave me that, but thanks a lot. Shout out again to Allison and Nico. That trip would not have been possible without them. Allison, I had so much fun, and I'm so glad we got to share that moment, and I look forward to more adventures in the future. The Small Rooms Big Nerves tour was a huge success in terms of creating buzz for Hilary's return to music. I don't know that it brought a lot of attention to Hilary having a new album coming out, but it definitely made people aware that pop star Hilary had returned. And the next thing we know, she's announcing the Lucky Me World Tour. I could not believe that my city, Tampa, was one of the cities. I was expecting to have to travel again to either Nashville, Atlanta, Miami. I'm going to be traveling for 2 shows, but I'm going to Tampa. Loved the reaction to the tour being announced. People were so happy. And even here in Tampa, people were coming up to me at work and just sharing the excitement about it. Loved that. I don't want to talk about round 2 of Ticketmaster Wars. I got Tampa and West Palm Beach, and my friend got Nashville, so I'm good. The February Las Vegas shows, those looked really intimate and fun. That was the weekend before the album release. And then release week gets here, and it was like promo overload. And I know so many of us have trauma from the 3-day promotional tour for Breathe In, Breathe Out. So to have it feel like Hilary was everywhere was amazing. Glamour magazine cover story, Rolling Stone interview, radio show interviews she did in London. One of the best interviews, if not the best interview of her career, with Anthony Mason for CBS Mornings. Make sure you watch the full 46-minute extended version of that interview. There were also album release parties at gay bars around the world. Hilary did a lot of fun social content. She did a cute meet and greet at the Grove in LA on release day. The lead up to this album felt so flawless, and major props to Hilary and everyone involved. I also want to list off some of the other press moments that have happened even after the album release. So Call Her Daddy podcast with Alex Cooper, On Air with Ryan Seacrest, Gay Times Magazine, The Drew Barrymore Show, Interview Magazine, Table Manners podcast, On Purpose with Jay Shetty podcast, and finally, her first appearance ever on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. That was a great time, and the performance of Roommates, quite possibly her best TV performance ever. It feels like there has been a new Hilary Duff interview / press appearance to come home from work and watch every single day. I know there's more to come, and that was just a small list of the appearances, but more to come, and it's been a little overwhelming, but we literally prayed for times like this, so I've loved every minute. And that brings us to the album, and going back specifically to the album release date, February 20th, 2026, we got Hilary's 6th studio album, Luck or Something. Released by Hilary's own label, Sugar Mouse Inc., through Atlantic Records, produced by her husband, Matthew Coma, and Brian Phillips, written entirely by Hilary, Matthew, and a small group of other writers. So let's get into my album review. Finally, I'm going to go track by track, but first, some overall thoughts. For me, Luck or Something is easily one of Hilary's best projects to date. I am obsessed with this record. It is a body of work. It is a work of art. It was extremely well executed and thought out. Hilary had something to say. And what I love about that is, prior to hearing the new music, we were all curious about what a Hilary Duff album would be like at this stage of her life? What subject matter is she going to tackle as a 38-year-old mom of 4 kids and a wife who is seemingly in a happy marriage? That being her life from an outsider's perspective doesn't really feel like it would make great material for new music. But we as fans, we as the public, we don't know what we don't know. So I am happy to be able to say that Hilary delivered an album that fits in the pop music landscape while also being age appropriate for her and her audience. This project simply works. For a long time, I felt like if Hilary came back to music, we might get, the album about her falling in love with Matthew or being in love with Matthew. And that would have been nice, but we got something so much more interesting and way more introspective. It's relatable, it's vulnerable, it's revealing. Ultimately, we got an album about some of Hilary's biggest insecurities in life. And my takeaway is that she is so in love with Matthew that her biggest insecurity is losing him. Whether that's through infidelity or through mutually falling out of love, she does not want to lose Matthew. Insecurity, anxiety, abandonment, conflict. These are all themes on Luck or Something. All very deep themes. Lyrically, this is not a very bright and cheery album, but it's set to catchy and breezy, light synth pop sounds and adult contemporary style music. This is grown-up Hilary, and that was my immediate reaction to hearing this record. It's a relatable album about growing up and about being grown. It carries a lot of weight, and it has a very mature tone. And when I say that, I'm not talking about explicit lyrics. I'm talking about the depth of the lyrics and those adult themes that I mentioned. Now, to me, it really does feel like a grown-up metamorphosis. It's exactly as if the girl we knew as kids became a woman who we can still relate to and still admire. Sonically, it's almost like the Hilary from the Metamorphosis era who was making bubblegum, teeny bopper music, grew up and made more of an indie pop album. I think it's still very much on brand for Hilary. It's not some crazy departure, but it's also not a dance pop or electro pop album like Breathe In, Breathe Out or Dignity. And I think for anyone who was longing for more dance pop music from Hilary, once you hear this album, it just clicks. I think it really makes sense. This feels like the album Hilary was supposed to release at this moment in time. She's talked about how it's inspired by the last 10 years of her life, which is how long of a break she took from putting out a new album. But I say it was worth the 10-year wait. Diving into these tracks, we begin with the opener, the absolute bop that is Weather for Tennis. Now, we first heard this at the show in London, and I loved it right away because one thing I was missing from Mature and Roommates that I expect from a Hilary Duff pop song is crack, okay? Love those two songs, but for me, they don't have that addictive, sugary sweet, for lack of a better word, crack that makes you really want to keep listening over and over and over. Weather for Tennis, she put crack in this one. It is an earworm that you can't stop listening to. It sets the tone well for the album to be very breezy and a little more mid-tempo. Sometimes we want our album openers to pack more of a punch, but Weather for Tennis really sets things up nicely. For me, this song is about dealing with conflict and dealing with someone who's more of a fire starter when you're trying to be a peacekeeper. I do have to say the metaphor of weather for tennis has been a little bit of a head scratcher for me. Hilary has said that she's singing about emotional tennis, and in a song about arguing back and forth, tennis does seem like a good metaphor there. What I've landed on is that tennis is like a healthy adult conversation. And if the mood is not right for that kind of talk, then we already know we're just going to argue. This is the kind of person who has to be in the right mood to have a healthy back and forth conversation as grown adults. And when they're not in that mood, we're not playing tennis, we're going to argue. That's just my interpretation. My favorite lyrics are in the pre-chorus. She sings, "Keep the peace, 'cause I'm a kid of divorce, and you're the starter of wars, and there's no winning in yours. So I call to say I'm sorry, of course, but now I won't anymore, and put the ball in your court." She is done with her apologies. The music video for Weather for Tennis was clearly shot when they did the album photo shoot. It's just Hilary posing on the different sets. She looks stunning, but it's a little underwhelming for a music video, especially when you have a quirky song title with tennis in it. You know, they could have done something a little more fun with tennis in the video. I understand keeping it chill and not wanting to do anything cheesy, but I envisioned something a little more involved. Maybe it wasn't in the budget. Who knows? Track number 2, the second single, Roommates. What I love the most about Roommates is the concept of this song. I love the idea of her singing about how in a long-term relationship, you can eventually just be going through the motions of life together and feeling like roommates. In this song, she is longing for that spark again. She sings about how they went from sneaking home late, waking up his roommates, to practically being roommates. My favorite line is in the chorus when she sings, "Butterflies holding your hand." The way she sings that and the way the music sounds just evokes that feeling of being in love with someone and holding their hand. Most of the song honestly sounds sad, and in that moment, they really contrast this happy feeling so well. There are some jarring lyrics here, like "back the dive bar giving you head" and "touching myself looking at porn." The intention is to be jarring. Those lyrics have grown on me, but it's kind of like when people say they don't like the word moist. It just doesn't sound nice to them. That's how I feel about the word porn being used. Love Hilary for keeping it real, though. Roommates is a little more of a banger than most of the album. It's more commercial pop and radio friendly. People say the drum beats sound a lot like Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift, and I have to agree. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. Anti-Hero is a great song, so why not? It's also been well documented that Taylor Swift has taken inspiration from Hilary songs. If you know, you know. The Roommates music video is breathtaking. Hilary in that yellow dress, trying to get her man's attention while the house is flooding. I love it. Some people have made up a theory that Hilary is playing the older version of the girl in the Come Clean music video. I'm down to clown with that. It's fun. I do wish the end of the video we could see the guy better at the top of the hill. I know Hilary explained in the behind the scenes video that she's walking towards him at the end to kind of represent them coming back to each other, but you can barely see him. So that would have been nice for him to have been a little more noticeable. Track number 3, We Don't Talk. Haley Duff. Oh, Haley Duff. Okay, since Duff Enough ended, we as fans slowly realized that Hilary and Haley were no longer in each other's lives. They were last seen together in like 2019, and as time went on, it became a thing people were speculating about. We still don't know what happened, truthfully. It is sad, though. It is very sad, and to see Hilary addressing it in this song and talking about it in interviews now, you can feel how hurt she is by not having her sister in her life. I will say that in 2022, I got to meet Haley on the set of a movie she was directing in Tampa. That was right as people were starting to catch on to the fact that Hilary and Haley were at odds. And I was probably in a little bit of denial about it. But regardless, my interaction with Haley was a very positive experience. She was very kind. She really looked at me and listened to what I had to say about how much she and Hilary meant to me growing up. She signed my Material Girls DVD and also my copy of her cookbook, The Real Girl's Kitchen. Back to the song, though, just like the situation at hand, the lyrics of We Don't Talk are devastating. And they really tell Hilary's perspective on things. It sounds like Hilary desperately wants to be on good terms again with her sister. It also sounds like she doesn't really know what happened between them. My longtime friend Sarah, who was on an episode of this podcast at one point, brought to my attention how layered the lyrics are as well. So she sings, we don't talk talk about it. We don't talk about anything anymore. And when you unpack that, she's saying, first of all, we don't talk. Second of all, we don't talk about it, meaning whatever it was that tore them apart. And third, we're not talking to people about the fact that we don't talk. I really think some of the best songwriting on the album is on this song. The lyrics are simple but effective, and my favorite, or maybe the most striking lyrics for me, are in the second verse. She sings, if it's 'cause you're jealous, God knows I would sell it all, then break you off the bigger half. Are you kidding me? That is so powerful. And even though the song is sad, it's set to this mid-tempo, trippy pop track that is such a vibe. Like, it's so good. And for people who say that the bridge sounds like the song Mr. James Dean from Hilary's self-titled album, that's a song Hilary and Haley wrote together. I can get with that theory because it does. Whether it was intentional or not, I don't know. We Don't Talk, sad song about a sad situation, but a really good song that I wanted. I wanted a song about Hilary and Haley's relationship, and as soon as I saw the title, I knew that's what it was going to be about. I thought it was going to be a punchy song, though, like Haters, also from Self-Titled. But no, this is sad, and I hope for a resolution between our Duff sisters. Track 4, Future Tripping, another song with crack in it. This was my initial favorite. It's number 2 for me now, officially, but I would say this is the most traditional sounding Hilary Duff song on the album. It is poppy, it is sparkly, and yet it's a song for the anxious girlies about anxiety and tripping out over shit that hasn't happened. Specifically, she is singing in the verses about feeling anxious over Matthew's midlife crisis and what he will do. Will he leave her for a younger woman? What's going to happen? The chorus is incredibly catchy. I have to do a double clap every time those 2 drum beats hit after she sings, Honey, I Need Help. Clap, clap. Then she says Sunset and Doheny, which is another crosswalk in LA. So Hilary loves to reference a crosswalk. My fave lyrics are in the bridge. I'm a victim of prediction, obviously shouldn't leave my couch. Future tripping out. Frozen in tomorrow vision, here today but kinda missing out. Future tripping out. And it sounds so good, the way it's sung and the production and the vocal layering at the end. Future Trippin' screams single. It's got to be a single, right? It could have been the lead single if they had really wanted to go more commercial pop and go for the relatable, catchy hit single. It would have been misleading as a taste of the whole album, though, I think. This song is very singular, but I love it. Track 5, Growing Up. This rounds out my top 3 favorite songs. My number 1 is still coming up, but I relate to this song the most on Luck or Something. I feel like it's where I'm at in life. It's where a lot of my friends are at. It's about growing up and having a longtime friend who's been with you on this journey and has transitioned from childhood into adulthood with you. Hilary is specifically singing about her friend, Alana Masterson. She even starts the song with the lyrics, "Alana came over and we talked shit for hours." Alana is probably Hilary's most controversial friend. People on TikTok have strong feelings about Alana and about Hilary being friends with her. Do your homework on that. I don't know that I loved the Alana shout out in this, but yeah, I'll just think of my best friends' names instead. Anyway, the song is an interpolation of the Blink 182 song, Damn It. So basically, they took some lyrics and music from the chorus of that song and put Hilary's spin on it. Favorite lyrics, again, are in the bridge. It's a great contrast of childhood versus adulthood experiences you share with friends. So she sings, "Handshakes and tattoos, heartbreaks and bad news, first kids and hard truths, family you can choose." Track 6, "The Optimist." Now, this is the song that I think the average person might hear and really perk up and be like, that's a Hilary Duff song? One thing that makes this album special and different from Hilary's previous records is the storytelling in the lyrics. These are storytelling songs, and The Optimist might be the best example of that. She is singing about a broken relationship with her father and how, as a naturally optimistic person, it's difficult for her to navigate his disappointing behavior. But at the beginning specifically, the lyrics are about a hypnotist sensing Hilary's pain regarding someone she needs in her life, but that someone hasn't been there for her. And listen to these lyrics of what the hypnotist says to Hilary. "You've got a tiny splinter on the tip of your finger. It demands all the attention in the room." So these feelings Hilary tries to push down and make smaller are big. Then we get the confessional chorus where she sings, "I wish I could sleep on planes and that my father would really love me. He'd show up on my wedding day and tell my family they're all so lucky. He'd tell me how he wished he'd stayed and that he'd never meant to disappoint me. But till then, I'll exist as the optimist." And when you hear that with Hilary's soft vocals and the slower tempo, folky pop music, it's really emotional. The most striking lyrics are in the last chorus when she sings, "It wouldn't take his dying day, some sort of signature that he needs from me." Now, we knew about the Haley situation. We didn't know things were not so okay between Hilary and Bob Duff. Sure, we've never seen him around much, but we just didn't know. And a lot of people have strained relationships with their parents, with their siblings, with their extended family. So both The Optimist and We Don't Talk are very relatable for a lot of people. I do think from an objective songwriting perspective, The Optimist might be the best song on this album. Track 7 is You from the Honeymoon. It's very breezy. It's a nice transition song between The Optimist and the next song, Holiday Party. But yeah, this one hasn't clicked as much for me. She's singing about wanting to go back to a happier time with a partner, specifically their honeymoon or the honeymoon phase. When dissecting the lyrics, I've definitely questioned if it's about her ex-husband, Mike. The first lyrics are at 23 in Rockaway Beach. So 23, that's the age she first got married. But there are other lyrics that don't really make sense for it to be Mike. She refers to the Japanese House, which is an indie band formed in 2012. She would have been with Mike around that time, but I don't know. She also sings about a hand slap across the face. Excuse me? This could honestly just be a made-up story or something to try and make a point. My least favorite song on the album, however, my favorite lyric is "Your kind of freak matched my kind of freak," because we know Hilary is a little freaky, okay? Track 8, Holiday Party. Holiday Party is that girl. Right from the start, I was gagged. She says, In my head, you live another life where you fuck all my friends and wish someone else could have been your wife. Hilary. Now, can you imagine if this had been the lead single and that was the first line of the new song we all heard? And it would have been even funnier if we were still thinking it was going to be a Christmas song and then she says that. It's definitely not a Christmas song. It is the sexiest song about Hilary dreaming about her man cheating on her and cheating on her at the holiday party. How do you make that sexy? I don't know, but she did. My favorite lyrics are in the pre-chorus. When I look at that body, I'm not trusting nobody. Hilary is the jealous type, and that is relatable. We get it, Hilary. The production on this track is so good, and the music is, again, sexy but groovy. I am not opposed to this being a single. They could make a really good music video for this with a storyline. I'm all for that. Holiday Party was a great surprise on this record. Didn't see that coming. All right, track 9, Mature, the lead single. You're so mature for your age. I talked about this song earlier, but I do really like Mature. The first time I heard it, I got 80s vibes. I understood the Carly Rae Jepsen comparisons. In my review on TikTok, I really praised the song for being mature, both lyrically and musically. I said that this song isn't teeny bopper. It's not so much for getting down in the club. It's a good song for grown people who want to play music while they're cooking dinner and, dance around in the kitchen. And Hilary has explained now that that's kind of the vibe she was going for. She was inspired by Harry's House, which she said didn't sound like an album where they were trying to make hit radio singles. So I stand by my dance around the kitchen comment. The chorus of Mature is so strong. I love the way she sings, "You're so mature for your age." The little guitar lick in the chorus is everything. The bridge is also super fun, especially when you do the TikTok dance with it. The music video is my favorite video of this era. I love the two Hilarys and Hilary looking back on her old self. I love her sparkly gold dress look. I love the black leather jacket look. I love the release of the butterfly at the end. Mature was a moment. Like I said earlier, such a statement song. And I do think it was the right choice for the lead single. Track 10, Tell Me That Won't Happen. So this is my favorite song on the album. This one's got crack in it, a sprinkle of crack. From the get-go, this song hooked me. She starts by singing, "I know you better than your mirror and shadow. I know how often you don't call your mom." I know you better than your mirror and shadow. Brilliant. And it immediately takes you to that feeling of knowing someone so well or really loving someone so much that you know everything about them. So it's someone you've been with for a minute, lived some life with, and now you're in a place where you're having a conversation with that person and begging them to tell you that your relationship is going to last, that you're not going to fall out of love, that you're not going to lose the spark in your relationship, that you're not done having first times in your relationship. I found a lot in these lyrics, clearly. My favorite line might be in the chorus. "I'm wondering if time stands still, will I still be dreaming in past tense? So are all the good times behind her? Does she have anything to look forward to in life, in her relationship?" And behind all that is the catchiest, funkiest synth pop music when it heads into the bridge and there's a buildup with all this vocal layering and then the final chorus being vocal on top of vocal. I am just obsessed. I will say the vocal performance and production could have been a little better on this one. Not my favorite vocally on the album, but overall, still my favorite. Tell Me That Won't Happen. Track 11, the final track, Adult Size Medium. This is the perfect song to close the album. It goes back to what I was saying about this being so well thought out. she made a song about reflecting on your younger days, specifically your 20s. And she uses the imagery of putting on this old shirt from your 20s and pausing to question who you were then versus who you are now. The best line of the album, I think, is on this song. It's not the line with the title, although I'll get to that. It's when she sings, "Nobody runs faster than time." And I'll read the full line for context. It's, "Now on the other side of cherry-flavored chapstick, there's some grayish highlights reminding me that nobody runs faster than time." That is so good. That is so good. The song builds so well, and the end really soars. The music feels epic, and the closing line is, "I remember it all, and I remember nothing. How did we get here? Was it luck or something? Was it luck or something?" And that's where we get the title. Her first album named after lyrics rather than, like a song title or her name or whatever. But Hilary has said that she picked that title because it's a good answer for when people ask how she survived being a child star and how she turned out so normal. Luck or something. And there's a lot in the something. So it ends with the title. It ends with a nice reflection on her past and where she's at now. It speaks so well to the people who have grown up with her. And it's the universal experience we're all having with aging and what that looks like in your 30s. So yeah, perfect ending to a 10 out of 10 album. At the beginning of the episode, I said I was going to determine whether or not this is my favorite Hilary Duff album. It's my favorite Hilary Duff album for this stage in my life, hands down. I needed this record right now. Do I still think Dignity is her magnum opus? Probably so, and that's okay. That is okay. Well, there are a few more things I want to comment on as I wrap up, starting with the Mine tracks, the re-records of some of Hilary's classic songs. These were announced as being different vinyl variants, and during the release week, they were made available on iTunes on the happy hour edition of the record. I bought the different vinyls so that I could get the songs. I don't mind that I bought 9 copies of the album I wanted to support. And honestly, I wanted the vinyls more than anything, especially the ones with alternate covers like the mature cover and the wine o'clock cover. So I cared more about that than the re-records, although I wanted to hear those too. Now listen, to preface what I'm about to say, I thought the production on Luck or Something was great. I thought Hilary's vocals sounded good. We know what we're getting vocal-wise from Hilary, but I thought overall, vocally, Luck or Something was better than Breathe In, Breathe Out. And I will say I prefer Hilary singing in a lower register, like on Dignity, and a lot of this was upper register singing. But anyway, the Mine versions, the re-records. Here are the songs. Wake Up, So Yesterday, What Dreams Are Made Of, Sparks, Come Clean, Why Not, and With Love. And I gotta say, the production is not great. I feel like this might have been a last-minute decision, and they rushed the process. The effects on the vocals and the auto-tune, too much. Some are better than others. Come Clean sounds like what I would have expected. It's more mature sounding. It sounds like, a matured voice on a song she originally recorded as a teenager. I also don't hate With Love, and I do appreciate that Banks is whispering, "Wake up," on Wake Up. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of those. I didn't have high expectations, so I don't feel like I wasted my money or anything. The mellow versions of her new songs, though, those I really like. So she did these stripped down versions of Mature, Roommates, Weather for Tennis, and You from the Honeymoon. They are lovely. Really like those. The next order of business, the AutoPen controversy. Oh man, this was our Sparks Tinder ad of the era. I was not really aware of AutoPen. I'm not a frequent collector of signed merchandise, but basically Hilary's website was offering signed vinyls and CDs. Hilary said that she was really signing them. She even made a video saying she had to drop the heart from her signature because there were so many. And once people started getting their copies, they posted online about how it looked like AutoPen. And I'll be honest, they don't look that great. The signatures are on sleeves, so they're not on the front of the records, but it's not great. And obviously, it's false advertising. It feels misleading. I personally wasn't brokenhearted. I was just frustrated that the rollout had gone so well, and then they messed up with this. And the problem, I think, is that they kept putting the signed vinyls and CDs back in the shop after saying it was a limited time offer or whatever. It should have been capped at like 1,000, and Hilary could have managed that, maybe. The casual fans coming for Hilary in the comments, back off. Y'all are so worried about the AutoPen, you're forgetting about the pen Hilary used to write this incredible album, okay? Also, in a few years, I think we're going to be proud to own that AutoPenned memorabilia. Like, you're not a real fan if you don't have the AutoPen signed copy of Luck or Something. And if you don't feel that way, then you can request a refund. Simple as that. Okay, now on to something more positive, the success of this album. Remember when Hilary Duff tried to save pop music in 2026 and we didn't let her flop? That's right, Luck or Something debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 chart with 84,000 units. Breaking that down, it's 11.51 million on-demand streams and 73,000 pure sales. We were also like 1,000 away from being number 2 on the chart. This is her 6th top 5 album on the Billboard 200, which means Hilary has had 6 albums in the top 5 across 3 decades. Luck or Something is also a global hit, topping the charts in Canada and Australia and debuting in the top 10 in many other countries. The album also received positive reviews from critics, including 4 stars from Rolling Stone. And of course, the fan reaction has been incredible to watch, with love coming in from around the world. Some final thoughts, the excitement for this album, the tour, the Hilary Duff Renaissance, it's felt like a dream, but as a lifelong Hilary stan, it's been so fun. Our queen is finally getting her flowers. I am beyond proud of her. I am so inspired by her and by her bravery to get back out there and take this journey again. And I cannot wait for what's to come. This Lucky Me world tour is going to be epic. We as a fandom have been through a lot of disappointments, also a lot of success, and we've been by her side for such a long time, over 25 years. So this is a celebration for Team Duff or the Defenders or whatever Hilary decides we need to be called. But thank you guys for your community. I love being a part of this. I love connecting with fans and becoming friends and sharing the love we have for our girl. Thank you for listening to this special bonus one-off return episode of Duff Enough. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot to say. Be sure to follow on social media at Duff Enough Project and go back and check out the other episodes because, as I always say at the end, this podcast is what dreams are made of. Bye, Team Duff.